Well, talking about X-Men characters, we see Wolverine, Juggernaut, also Brad Pitt. So some awesome surprise cameos. Talk to me, what did you think about those, Jim?
Well, I mean, I think it was nice to finally see the X-Men themselves show up in this movie.
Yeah. Oh yes.
And that was one of to me that was one of the biggest laughs, and how they played it too.
Yeah.
Where they were like, we don't want to be involved with it. And just acknowledging like the stuff that they talked about in the first movie paying off here. Like, what, we can't afford any of the cast, or the studio doesn't allow them in. And then you just see in this movie, they're like, yeah, oh god.
Yeah, they just don't want anything to do with Deadpool. So
yeah, exactly.
And that was so just a little tidbit here. Like, they filmed that on the set of Dark Phoenix.
No way. Okay,
Different
there
director,
you go.
all that. So they got everyone back. The writers told me in an interview I did with them this week. So it was great that they finally had some synergy there and were able to acknowledge that yes, indeed, they're all the same universe, but that's all, as far as we're gonna go.
Yeah, and I read the interview you did. You guys can see that on IGN.com, by the way. And then they were talking about how they got Brad Pitt, and it's like superhero movies are like the thing now, so it wasn't like hard to get him. He was happy to do it.
Yeah.
And it was just that
He did it for a cup of coffee.
Did it for a cup of
scale.
coffee.
Wow.
Did his agent get 10% of the cup of coffee?
I don't think. Yeah, I don't think I don't think the agent was probably too happy that he worked on Deadpool for nothing, basically.
Yeah. But I feel like a lot of people will be talking about that coming out of the movie because it was such a great gag of the whole Vanisher thing. One thing I didn't get was like, why did he never speak? Just because you're invisible doesn't mean you can't say anything. But I get it. It was part of the
probably
gag.
Don't get paid scale if you speak. Then.
Yeah.
I bet you there was a deal point there.
It's just a practical thing, not as it was kind of silly for them to not have him speak, but I get why they did it because then it would have revealed it was Brad Pitt much earlier. But anyways, I'm getting lost in it. But no, it was super funny to see him horribly die, and then it's like, oh hey, it's Brad Pitt.
You know what was kind of I thought was funny about that, and no one else really kind of caught it. Even the writers, I asked them, I'm like, oh, was that playing it? All the interview with the vampire jokes that they were making about Kirsten Dunst and Tom Cruise. Well, Brad Pitt was in there, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, he was in that movie." I thought he was in there just to pay off that gag they had going about that movie.
Oh, card down.
Yeah.
Grab that. Okay. So I thought Juggernaut was absolutely awesome. Did you guys see that coming? Because they were talking about the monster underneath the prison. I did not think it was him at all. I really didn't. And then when he came out, I was just like, oh my gosh. So what do you guys think of Juggernaut?
Yeah, so we actually obviously read into these things too much. And we saw in the trailer that there's like, Colossus was punching like a dome. And we're like, that's got to be Juggernaut's helmet. And then the score leaked ahead of time that had like the opera singers saying like, holy crap, it's the Juggernaut.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
So we had it spoiled for us going in. But it was awesome to see him fully realized as the Juggernaut, huge, done as CGI. Jim also found out that it was Ryan Reynolds who voiced him.
No way.
And did a little bit of the facial mocap.
Yeah.
And so they rearranged his voice and everything. The writers were saying this. So that was a nice thing because he's credited as himself.
Yeah.
And so everyone was like, well, who's Juggernaut? Who's playing him?
But it was awesome because obviously we didn't really get him as we wanted to see him in X3, but this was the ideal version. Yeah. Of course, I know a lot of people love the Juggernaut so much, myself included, that they might not be 100% happy that he went out the way he did.
That ending, that was so funny.
Oh my gosh.
That was great.
Also, if I'm being super picky from the comics, his whole thing is that he, once he starts building forward momentum, he cannot be stopped. And they were knocking him around and doing all this stuff, even when he was producing forward momentum and got knocked down. But it didn't matter because it was awesome to see him and Colossus go head to head. It was an awesome. It was just awesome seeing that fight realized on the big screen.
And this is also the best Colossus has ever been in an X-Men movie.
Oh yeah.
Like that was another thing I really liked was that he actually has like an arc and he's not just like the background guy. And yes, we saw him in the first Deadpool movie and it was Russian there, but it was nice that they really I recognize that character more in this movie than I have in other Colossus appearances in the X-Men movies.
I think that was actually one of my favorite scenes was Colossus and Juggernaut going at it, but also when Deadpool is geeking out about Juggernaut, he's like, oh my gosh, I'm one of your biggest fans, because like we've all been there, right? And then he just like rips him in half. I was just like, oh, and Domino, she's like just sees Juggernaut and she's like, nope, like I'm gonna be absolutely no part of this. But let's see, what is going to be next with all of this? I mean, we're talking
real
about,
quick, sorry to cut you off. Wolverine, we have to talk about Wolverine.
We got to talk about Wolverine.
Yeah, so you really like that one.
I know, how did I forget to talk about that? Okay, so So obviously the end scenes, I think everyone's going to be talking about that. I mean, Ryan Reynolds just like absolutely gunning down repeatedly like the old Deadpool, and then Hugh Jackman. You know, we were thinking like, oh, people are going to be Googling this like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like the X-Men cameo, this was a payoff to something I think people were expecting in the first one, and even right up into, you know, he joked about the Green Lantern stuff in the first one, but to see it pay off again here, like that they were able to use that footage from X-Men Origins Wolverine to acknowledge in their own way a way to retcon that out, or just to flat out address it, like this version doesn't exist anymore, kind of thing. So I thought it was great, and I'm glad that Hugh Jackman didn't come back for something new, because with Logan and him dying, I don't want to see that cheapened, you know?
Yeah.
They can make jokes about that all they want, but like I don't want to see Jackman himself coming back and like denigrating all the poignancy and the hard work you put into Logan, you know?
Yeah,
for
that makes
just
sense.
a shticky cameo.
Joshua, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of us would love to see Logan and Deadpool share the screen, like actually not using footage from an old movie. But I feel like this was a great way to kind of have it, while not, again, spoiling what happened with Logan, which was such a wonderful end cap for that character. So it was great to see it. It was a great joke. Pretty much, it's so funny because Ryan Reynolds has had such a rocky journey to this point, to being Deadpool, which is just a universal hit, and he's getting like Golden Globe nominations, killing it at the box office. But if he didn't have these horrible failures to look back on, he wouldn't have any material for these awesome jokes.
I also think it's funny too, like you know, they're poking fun at Wolverine dying. Like one of the first shots is like the music box of dead Wolverine.
Yes. Oh my
but
gosh.
that they then go and kill Deadpool in this one is almost for a very meta movie, is almost another meta commentary. But of course, they undo all that, which was hilarious. But I thought, like, I appreciated that touch too, that they're trying to out Logan, like give him the big long drawn out death scene, and yep, not done yet. You know?
That was really funny, the death scene.